Ay,
Hi
sir.
po,
Hi,
sir.
sir.
Hello.
Anak ko po.
Baby, anak mo?
Sir, wala pong kuryente sa Talisay. Lakas po ng ulan.
Saan Talisay?
Opo, wala pong kuryente sa amin.
Sa Talisay?
Po,
Saan sa Talisay?
sa zone 1 po.
Wala. Dito sa amin mayroon.
Opo.
Sabi
Alam
sa'yo,
ko
Ten,
rin,
eh.
wala dyan,
Punta ka
sir.
na, sir.
Punta ka dito. May kuryente sa bahay.
Alam ko nga po lahat na.
Baka hindi kayo nagbayad.
Alam ko
Okay,
nga po,
wifi
nandito
ka.
pa po yung resibo namin.
Dito sa Aya may kuryente pa eh.
Ay, sa Aya po kayo, sir.
Taga Talisay din ako.
Ah, okay po.
Alam mo yan, Ten.
Tatanong ko pala kung may kuryente sa Zone 1. Joke lang.
Sir, totoo po, ang dilim, oh.
Joke lang.
Tinatamad yan, sir.
Uy, hindi
Tingin ko
po,
nga.
nagpa-load na po ako.
Tatagayin natin itong ulan na to. Yain na. Ay. Kumusta naman kayo? Kumusta ibang subject?
Ay, sir.
Okay lang naman,
sa
sir.
PowerPoint po kanina, yung picture, wala yung stock images.
Ah, wala.
Opo nga, sir.
Anong version nyo?
Online features lang po.
Anong version ng inyong office?
Yung,
Yung pong-
free po ni PUP na 365.
Seryo, ba't wala?
Na-download pa yun.
Paano yun din
Ano po?
Wait lang ha.
Parang extension.
Check
Okay,
natin.
mag-download mo talaga yun. Pero pwede mo rin siya i-access online. Try nyo. Search nyo sa
download yun.
Kasi binung
Lalabas yung open tapos internet, ganyan.
Kasi yung sa akin, kahit na na sa PUP, 2016 pa din yun eh. Hindi pa siya 365 kasi hindi pa ako nagda-download.
yung sa akin kasi, pagkabukas ko, pagkabili ko ng desktop, tawag dito, meron na siya eh. Sige, try ko, tingnan ko mamaya. Search natin kung paano.
Meron! Dun sa free.
Saan?
Meron. Ay! Sa akin, sir.
Meron sa'yo? Set from home. Antay lang tayo ng konti. Antay lang tayo ng konti pa. Okay, so let's start. Wala naman siguro tayo inaantay. Kukunti lang talaga makaka-attend. Okay, so for the attendance, mamaya na lang. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, class. Welcome to our
Afternoon.
third class. Di pa ba kayo nagsasawa sa akin? Maghapon na tayo magkakaharap. Anyways, so with regards dun sa ating binigay ko sa inyo na assignment, so discuss lang din ano lang natin siya, dadaanan lang natin. Ito natin to. Okay. So based dun sa mga naging sagot nyo, mataas yung binigay ko dun sa ano. So for the highest grade is I give 98%. So sabi ko nga, walang tama o maling sagot doon. Nakadepende yon kung anong sasabihin nyo, paano nyo i-defend yung naging decision nyo. So let's try to get some answers. For our first question kasi doon, sabi, yung isang engineer daw, in-inform niya yung ni-notify niya yung kanyang firm na kung saan merong relatively minor cost na flashlight na pwedeng magtagal yung paggamit using more reliable bulb. So the firm decided na hindi na lang siya gamitin yung bagong bulb na sinasabi ng engineer kasi nga mas magiging mura yung kanilang tawag dito? Magiging mura yung flashlight nila, and then yung mga consumers kasi hindi na bibili ng ganong kadalas nung kanilang flashlight. So what do you think is the moral values here? The issues, or sa tingin nyo, ano ba yung issue dito? Si Ira Mia. Ira. Wala. Okay. Sige, ano na lang. Jade, ikaw na Jade. Patingin mo, ano ba yung anong issue natin dito sa first question natin?
Sir, conflict of interest.
Dahil?
Kasi si engineer po gusto niya mag-provide ng superior product para sa users. Samantalang yung firm kasi gusto nilang babaan yung quality para kumita sila ng malaki.
Okay, thank you. So that is our issues here. nagkaroon ng conflict of interest between the engineer and the firm. So the firm decided na hindi siya gamitin kasi nga makaka-apekto siya sa sales. While the engineer, gusto niya kasi quality yung product na bibigay natin. So the dilemma here is hindi pumayag yung firm na tanggapin. So yung naging dilemma on the part of the engineer na nag-propose. So what do you think will be the next action ng engineer? Ano yung pwede niya pang gawin? Sige, sino pwede kong tanungin? Erwin. Wala? Okay, sige, ano na lang. Si Christine May. Sa tingin mo, ano yung sa tingin mo next action dapat ng engineer?
Ano po, sir, para
Ano pang
i-prove
pwede
niya pa po yung gusto niya po about sa product na ma-improve po.
prove pa? Okay?
Or kung hindi man po pumayag yung firm dun po sa gusto ng engineer, maybe may ibang way pa po para mas ma-improve yung product ng mas bibilhin pa po ng customer.
Okay. Thank you. Cleo, ikaw, sa tingin mo, ano yung pwedeng gawin ulit ng next step ng engineer nung hindi pumayag yung firm?
Siguro po, sir, ano po, tingnan niya po both side yung advantage for consumer and at the same time, advantage din po for the company.
Okay. Pwede. Si Jeline. Ikaw, kung ikaw yung engineer, ano yung next step na gagawin mo?
Siguro po, sir, pwede pa rin po niyang subukan na i-propose po about po dun sa more reliable na bulb para po mas tumaas yung quality. Pero kung hindi naman po papayag yung firm, pwede po, sir, na pag-aralan din po niya yung current na product nila. Or, mali pala, yung pag-aralan kung paano mapapataas pa yung sales if ever na palitan nila yung bulb ng mas reliable.
Okay, thank you. So, maganda 'yon. Maganda yung last na sinabi ni Jeline, wherein titingnan natin, parang ipapakita kasi ng engineer na if we ever nagamitin natin yung bagong bulb na 'to, ano yung magiging epekto niya sa sales? Yes, yung mga customers natin, medyo mababawasan yung frequency ng pagbili nila ng repurchase. But, titingnan natin, baka kasi mas maging malaki yung sales natin kasi if magbigay tayo ng quality na products doon sa customers natin, baka hindi lang, baka mas dumami yung customers natin, mas makilala. And then, maganda rin yung sinabi ng, nakalimutan ko sino nagsabi, yung ipakita pa natin, ano ba yung advantage pa ng product na ibibenta natin sa ating customers. Kasi by doing that, hindi natin kailangan ng repurchase kailangan natin siya, pero mas kailangan natin na mas ma-expand yung ating customer, mas lumaki yung market natin, mas lumaki yung ating kung saan dumarating yung ating product kasi mas makakatulong siya in terms of sales. Okay, thank you. Next, for our next scenario, yung sabi dito, an engineer has been involved in the design of small airplane for business travel, type XYZ, finds out that he used the wrong software to calculate the required strength of the wing. He has used a standard software package, but now realized that this package was not fit for this specific type of airplane. The very same day, nung nalaman niya na mali yung ginamit niyang software package, may type XYZ na nag-crash and all 4 passengers die. The investigation shows that the plane has crashed due to inadequate design of the wing. Do you consider this engineer responsible for the plane crash and the death of 4 people? Or may hinahanap pa kayo information para magbigay ng inyong judgment? Sige, tanungin natin si Gladys. Gladys. Sige, huwag na si Gladys. Si ano na lang. Okay, okay, Justin. Ikaw, sa tingin mo, should the engineer be responsible para dun sa plane crash?
Yes po sir, pero may kulang pa rin po kasing info dun sa ano, tawag dito, dun sa case po para sa akin. Kasi ano po, parang wala pong mga parang safety checks or parang mga safety flights po bago maging commercially available yung plane na dinesign niya po. Parang ganun po.
Okay. What if merong information na nag-conduct ng safety check yung firm? Okay, based sa checking nila, good. Pasado yung design, pasado yung wing strength, pasado yung mga materials. Sa tingin mo, ano yung magiging responsible pa din ba yung engineer na nag-design or no?
Hindi ko lang po sure, sir.
Ano?
Siguro po,
Okay.
ano sir, tawag dito. Siguro po sir, opo kasi parang hindi niya na-specify kung ano, kung hanggang saan lang yung limit nung ano, nung parang under some circumstance lang pwede yung ganong na-design niya po. Parang ganon.
Okay, thank you. Sige, hingin natin din ng ano, ng input sinong gusto? Any volunteer? Okay, sige, Regine.
Ano po, basahin ko na lang po yung sagot ko, okay lang?
Okay, sige lang, sige lang.
Ano, I consider the engineer responsible for the death, but he's not the only one. There must be a quality check done or a prototype maybe before producing a wing of the plane of type and allowing it to fly commercially. The manufacturer should be responsible po.
Right. So, ibig sabihin, the manufacturer and the engineer are both responsible. Yun yung parang nagiging ano natin,
Yes,
conclusion. Okay, very good. So, possible, nagkaroon din ng maling ginawa si manufacturer kasi nagkulang siya doon sa, for example, first, bakit yun yung software package na available? Kung sa tingin natin na hindi, in terms of designing the plane, hindi pala siya applicable pero bakit yun yung available lang? Bakit hindi agad siya nakita ng engineer? During the designing kasi, hindi natatapos doon yung safety check natin. So sabi ko nga, we have also the checking during the manufacturing, checking after the manufacturing. Before yung usage ng product, meron tayong ginagawang mga checking pa. So possible, nagkaroon tayo ng kulang na information doon sa part na yon na may ginawa ba si firm para ma-check kung okay na ba yung plane. So, sabi ko nga, walang tamang sagot, walang mali, depende yun sa paano nyo i-justify yung inyong naging answer. Okay? So, but for that case study, so, thank you dun sa mga sagot nyo. Actually, magaganda yung naging justification nyo. So, hindi siya naging common lang, hindi naging general yung naging mga answers niya. Okay? So, thank you for that one. So, proceed tayo dun sa inaiwan natin last discussion. So, last discussion, sabi ko, pabasa na lang ako ng different kind of theories. Tapos, yung example analysis, yun na lang yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Okay? Nabasa nyo ba? Aminin nyo na. Nabasa nyo? Nabasa nyo yung last part nung topic 1 natin? Ethics and Professionalism regarding ethical theories. Nabasa naman? Wait. Wait lang. Ba't ganun ayaw? Wait lang guys. Bubuksan ko lang yung example analysis pagdating sa ethical theories. Bakit di ko maano siya? Wait lang guys ah. Ayaw lumabas ng share screen. Wait lang. Bagal mag-open. Anyway, sabi ko nga, meron tayong iba't ibang ethical theories na sinusunod. We have the utilitarianism, or utilitarian, duty ethics, and the virtue ethics. So yun yung main ethical theories. Wala, nagbabagal yung aking ano. Yung aking PC. Okay. So, wait lang. Sorry. Bakit hindi ko ma-share aking screen? Kita nyo ba?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Okay. So for the example analysis, basahin lang natin, i-analyze natin ano yung situation. Okay. So company X has the organizational structure. Meron daw 4 vice president reporting to the CEO. Together the CEO and VPs make up the executive committee. So sila doon yung executive committee, the 4 CEO and the 1 CEO and the 4 vice president. So first VP is the VP of Engineering. Siya si Mr. Early Retirement. Ang trabaho niya, design and testing of new products. He has 2 direct reports. One is has 2 direct reports. One, the hardware manager, Mr. Concern, who design and tests electronic circuits with his engineering staff. Number 2, the software manager, Mr. Incompetent, who design and test software with his engineering staff. The VP of Operation is responsible for managing manufacture and delivery of products, while Mr. Concern was hired 1.5 years ago to replace the hardware manager fired for poor circuit design, which directly resulted in a product recall. So ganun din nangyari si Mr. Concern, pang-replace siya kay hardware manager, which directly resulted in a product recall. So a secondary cause of the recall was software that included the incorrect parameters calculation was released by Mr. Incompetent. The new project in engineering is not going well because Mr. Early Retirement is very lax in his management style. The new project is several months behind its milestone of transferring a completed design to operation for manufacture. 2 months after the original transfer date passed, Mr. Early Retirement sent out an email announcing to the Executive Committee Engineering. So, nangyari 2 months after nung original transfer date, nagkaroon na ng meeting together with the together with the executive committee. Sorry. Okay. So operations and marketing, that the product had been transferred to operations. The announcement initiated the executive committee's finalization of plan for product market release and sales. But the announcement was not true because one of the circuit boards had a problem that had not been solved, and several software lockups were known to exist. Lockup refers to a product stalling after some interaction with the users, which can only be fixed by powering the product off and then on. 2 weeks later, Mr. Incompetent decided, in his word, to gut the state machine to prevent software lockup. The state machine is the brains of the product, which specifies the sequences of the states that an object or an interaction goes through during its life in response to events, together with its responses and action. So the state machine is typically designed at the beginning, not at the end of a project. So in a meeting, Mr. Concern observed that Mr. Early Retirement and Mr. Incompetent, who were very good friends, were not concerned with repercussions of state machine overhaul. Mr. Concern believes a product recall may occur because of software if adequate software testing and subsequent software revisions are not completed because before product shipment. So Mr. Early Retirement and Mr. Incompetent disagree. So the question here is, should Mr. Concern tell the CEO, who is Mr. Early Retirement's direct supervisor, that the email announcement of transfer was false, hindi pa talaga ita-transfer kay operation, the product is still not ready for transfer, sabihin ba ni Mr. Concern, and a product recall may occur unless adequate testing is completed. So ito yung magiging answers. First, in terms of utilitarian decision, in our fictional situation, telling the CEO that Mr. Early Retirement is wrong may personally cause, pag sinabi ni Mr. Early, kay CEO na si Mr. Early Retirement ay mali, it may personally cause Mr. Concern $100,000 in wrath from his supervisor, as this admission would strain the relationship between Mr. Concern and Mr. Early Retirement. However, pag hindi sinabi na meron palang problem dun sa product release, it may cost the company $20 million to recall the product and pacify the customers. Using utilitarianism, Mr. Concern is obligated to tell the CEO that the product is not ready to transfer to manufacturing. So in terms of utilitarian decision, ang pinagbabasehan natin dito is ano ba yung pwedeng mangyari, ano yung magiging consequences dun sa mga decision natin. Winaway natin yung mangyayari. So, makita natin kapag hindi niya sinabi, it can cost $100,000. Kapag hindi niya sinabi, it can cost the company $20 million, while kapag sinabi niya, magkakaroon ng problem between Mr. Concern and the Mr. Early Retirement, and personally, magkakos ka kay Mr. Concern ng $100,000. In terms of utilitarian, ang nagiging basihan natin ng decision is the effect or the consequences ng decision natin. So for example, stop sharing screen. Okay. For example, nawala. Okay. Sabi, in terms of utilitarian, it focuses on the result, sa consequences of our action, and treats intention as irrelevant. Good consequences equal good action. Yun yung nagiging thinking kapag utilitarian decision. Yung good action ko, it can result to good consequences. Pero ano ba yung good consequences? So pag sinabi natin good consequences, it can be measured in terms of happiness, pleasure, na pwede na ito ma-produce. However, yung happiness kasi, nakadepende siya dun sa tao. So, it may be different from other person. So, for example, if you want a good grade, anong gusto nyo gawin? Anong gagawin natin? You have to study. Pero kung ikaw, sa tingin sarili mo, ay, ayoko ng magandang grade. So, gagawin mo, hindi ka mag-aaral. Another example, you work to get money. So, kailangan mo magtrabaho, that is your good action. The good consequences is the money. So, kasi, sa tingin mo, yun yung pleasure mo, yun yung happiness mo. Kaya, nagkakaroon tayo ng motivation in order to achieve kung ano yung gusto nating makuha. Okay, for example, I will give you an example. Mayroon kasing naging critic pagdating kay utilitarian decision. For example, ikaw ay naligaw sa isang gubat wherein meron dong 20 na tawag dito. Sila ay mga, anong term na? Wait lang. Anong tawag sa mga yan? Wait. Indigenous people, yan. So, napunta kasi isang gubat na merong 20 na indigenous people and may group of soldiers. Yung group of soldiers na yon ay parang prisoners yung tingin nila doon sa 20 indigenous people. Since ikaw ay bisita, dumating ka doon sa area, tinanong ka nung soldier, sabi, okay, I will give you a decision na pwedeng makasalba doon sa 20 prisoners na indigenous people. Patayin mo yung isa, palalayain ko yung 19. Or, wala kang patayin doon sa 20 na yon, wala kang patayin sa 20 na yon, kami yung papatay. So what do you think will be your decision in terms of utilitarian? Kayo, ano yung magiging decision nyo if you're going to use utilitarian theory? Are you going to kill yung isang tao para makalaya yung 19? Or wala kang papatayin kasi in the first place, masamang pumatay? Sige, try natin. Sino gusto sumagot? Sino gusto sumagot? Wala. Okay, sige. Akong pipili. Si Jen. Jen Claril. Jen.
Hi, sir.
Hi. Okay. Ikaw, anong pipiliin mo? Papatayin mo ba yung isa para makalaya yung 19? Or hindi mo papatayin? Hindi, wala kang papatayin kasi in the first place, naniniwala ka na yung action mo ay makakapatay ng tao. Ikaw?
Magpa-pray na lang ako, sir.
Magpa-pray ka na lang. Sige, pwede naman. Pwede. Okay. Sige, ikaw, sa tingin mo, papatayin mo ba yung isang yun para maalaya yung 19? Or hindi?
Sir? Siguro, kasi dun sa papatay ng isa, pero palalayain yung 19, okay din doon. Pero, syempre, dun sa 20, pwede kasi magkaroon ng, tawag dito, pwede magkaroon ng another decision. Pag kunyari, pumayag ka na walang papatayin, pwede magbago yung isip.
Pwede. Pwede. Okay, pwede. Sige, okay na yan. Thank you. Sige, hingi pa tayo ng sagot. Sino gusto sumagot? Volunteer. Volunteer.
Ano sir, yung papatay ng isa, kung based sa utilitarianism. Kasi yung, alam ko yung utilitarianism is, yung ano ba yon? Yung wait lang kumidlat. Yung greatest good for the greatest number ba yon?
Okay, tama.
Yan po.
Utilitarian is the greatest good for the greatest number. Ibig sabihin, kung saan mas makakarami yung, saan mas makakabuti ang nakararami. So, ikaw, papatayin mo yung isa, pero in the first place, bawal pumatay. So yun yung nagiging critic sa utilitarian decision. Kasi sometimes yung ginawa nating action, it can affect doon sa isang tao na yon, pero it can give a greater opportunity doon naman sa labing siyam. Another example, ikaw ay isang doktor. Medyo kasi ako, nanonood ako ng Grey's Anatomy. So, if you're a doctor, tapos meron kang 5 pasyente, yung isa, kailangan ng heart transplant. Yung isa, kailangan ng liver transplant. Yung dalawa, kailangan ng lungs. Yung dalawa, kailangan ng kidneys. So, kasi, di ba, sa ating kasing pag mga ganong transplant kasi ng mga organs, meron tayong tinatawag na list of priority. Kung ikaw yung nauna, ikaw ba yung most critical. Kapag meron donor, kung sino yung nasa list, siya yung nauunang bigyan. However, itong doktor, meron siyang kakilalang kapitbahay niya na walang kapamilya, walang maghahanap na kamag-anak kung mawala, and checking yung compatibility ng mga organs is kumaga match dun sa 5 pasyente. Are you going to kill yung isang tao na yon para lang magamot mo yung 5 tao? Actually, same lang din siya nung nangyari dun sa first scenario natin. On the first place, bawal pumatay, pero kung siya ay for the greater good naman, papatay ka ba? Medyo yun ang conflict sa utilitarian, pagdating sa moral, sa decision in terms of morality, kagaya ng pagpatay. So medyo mahirap. Yun yung naging critic natin for utilitarian decisions. Okay. Next decision natin is the duty ethics. In terms of duty, ang ini-impose naman dito is your obligation in doing good, in doing right. Kumbaga, kung ikaw si Mr. Concern, you are obliged to tell the CEO na yung product ay hindi pa pwede i-transfer for manufacturing. Hindi natin dito iniisip masyado yung consequences.
Sir.
Yes po.
Wala po yung PPT po, hindi po namin kita.
Oo nga, wala nga. Sabi ko nga. Sorry.
Sige po.
Okay. Okay. In terms of duty ethics, sabi dito, using duty ethics, Mr. Concern is obligated to tell the CEO that the product is not ready to transfer to manufacturing. Hindi natin iniisip dito ano yung magiging consequences. Ang iniisip natin dito, in terms of morality, tama ba na itago natin yung problema? Which is, hindi. So, in terms of duty ethics, Mr. Concern is obligated na sabihin na hindi pa ready yung transfer to manufacturing. And the last one is the virtue ethics. In our fictional situation, Mr. Concern seeks the mean between the Mr. Early Retirement's underestimation of the danger of recall and overestimation of this danger. So Mr. Concern's courage requires that he tell the CEO that Mr. Early Retirement is wrong. Mr. Concern's compassion requires that he consider how others will suffer if they use faulty equipment. Using virtue ethics, same with other ethical theories, obligated si Mr. Concern na sabihin kay CEO na product is not ready for transfer to manufacturing. We already discussed yung virtue is ano yung pinaniniwalaan ng tao, ano yung prinsipyo ng tao. So sabi dito kasi very compassionate si Mr. Concern na sabihin na mali yung ginagawa ni Mr. Early Retirement. He has the courage na sabihin kay CEO na hindi pa ready for yung transfer to manufacturing ng product. So that is the 3 basic ethical theories na ginagamit natin for engineering ethics. So we have the utilitarian, the duty ethics, and the virtue ethics. Other ethical theories naman is already discussed on this portion. Kindly read na lang natin siya. Ano po? But mostly, yung ating decisions ay dun papatakalan dun sa tatlo. Okay? So, and then I will discuss also to you the steps in resolving ethical dilemmas. So, paano ba natin isosolve yung mga ethical dilemmas na yon? So, by step, we do not mean single file movements, but instead activities that are carried out jointly and in repeating patterns. So, these are the steps in resolving ethical dilemmas. First, moral clarity. We have to identify first the relevant moral values. So, the most basic steps in confronting ethical dilemma is to become aware of them. We have to be first, identify the moral values and the reasons applicable in situations and bearing them in mind as further investigations are made. Hindi, on the first part kasi ng analysis natin ng mga ethical dilemmas, hindi agad tayo dapat nagpe-create ng decisions sa utak natin kung nasa first part pa lang tayo. So these values and reasons might be obligation. Tingnan natin. Sa analysis natin, ano ba yung mga reason? Ito ba in terms of obligation, rights, goods, ideas, which might be desirable but not mandatory, or other moral consideration? Exactly how to articulate the relevant values to reflect our moral outlook. The moral framework is relevant even in stating what the ethical dilemma is. Another resource is talking with colleagues who can help sharpen our thinking about what is at stake in the situation. But the most useful resource in identifying ethical dilemma in engineering are professional codes of ethics as interpreted in a life of one's ongoing professional experiences. In order to identify the relevant moral values, we can ask other people or other colleagues, especially our superiors, if ano ba yung nakataya dun sa situation na yun. Ano yung pwedeng mangyari. But we have the engineering professional codes, which later on i-discuss natin. Meron kasing standard tayo na code of ethics na sinusunod na pwede natin siyang gamitin in order to identify the relevant moral values. The second part, the second step, is the conceptual clarity. Conceptual clarity means be clear about key concepts. So professionalism requires being a faithful agent of one's employer. But does that mean doing what one supervisor directs or doing what is good for the corporation in the long run? So this might be different things, in particular when one supervisor is adopting a short-term view that could harm the long-term interests of the corporation. So we have to be clear dun sa concepts nung ethical dilemmas. Again, what does it mean to hold paramount the safety, healthy, and welfare of the public in the case at hand? Does it pertain to all threats to public health or just serious threat, and what a serious threat? Again, thus being objective and truthful simply mean never lying and doing, or does it mean revealing all pertinent facts and doing so in a way that gives no preference to the interests of one's employer over the needs of the public to be informed of hazards? Ano ba yung potential harm nung dilemma na na-encounter natin in terms of the public safety ba, the health and the welfare? So we have to check, we have to be clear dun sa concept. Number 3, inform about the facts, obtain relevant information. So, nakidlat. So we, like the engineer, need to know more about the possible harm caused by the minute quantities of lead and arsenic over time. In terms of relevant information, we have to use quantitative data and the qualitative data. But most likely, in order to provide a specific decision, most likely gumagamit tayo ng mga quantitative data. For example, on the part of nakalimutan ko yung term. Sorry. Parang i-weigh natin ano yung magiging resulta if ito yung gagawin natin, and then on the other hand, ano yung magiging resulta quantitatively. The next one is inform about the options So, magpo-provide tayo ng mga options, ano yung mga pagpipilian natin. And then, the last one is, well-reasoned, make a reasonable decision. Once we make, based on the option, so kailangan, kung ano yung maging decision natin, we have to make it reasonable. Meron tayong pinagbatayan based dun sa mga facts na na-obtain natin. So, this is not a mechanical process that a computer algorithm might do for us. Instead, it is a deliberation aimed at integrating all the relevant reason, facts, and values in morality reasonable matter. If there's no ideal solution, as is often the case, we seek a satisfactory one, what Herbert Simon dubbed as satisficing. So, if ever na makapag-provide tayo ng decision, kailangan alam siya nung lahat ng tao na part ng conflict na yun or part ng dilemma nating ginagawa. And then, syempre, kailangan we are always control and monitor natin ano ba yung naging decision natin in terms of yung sa ethical dilemma. Kasi kailangan ma-check natin yung result. Baka kasi kaya pa nating, for example, nagkaroon tayo ng maling resulta, kaya pa natin siyang gawa ng paraan at baguhin, i-reverse natin yung decision. So para mas ma-minimize lang natin yung magiging harm doon sa part nung dilemmas na yun. Okay? So this important part lang nung ating lesson 1, which is the ethical theories and ethics and professionalism. Okay? We will now proceed to the second part. Baka ano pa makita sa share. Ayun. Okay. So let's now proceed to the second lesson 2 of the ethics. The business ethics. So for the business ethics, we have the business philosophy. So for the business philosophy, we have, sorry hindi ako nakagawa ng PowerPoint ha. We have the company vision and the mission statement. So for the mission statement, it pertains to the actual activities na gagawin ng isang business in order to achieve yung vision. Yung vision, ano naman yung gustong marating ng business natin. So the philosophy of ENIC serves as a blueprint for operation. So yun yung nagiging basihan ng isang operation kung paano sila magpa-plan, mag-ooperate. So for the learning outcome, we will identify what is business philosophy, and the most important is we will define what is corporate social responsibility. So business philosophy, after creating the business philosophy, the next step is articulating and communicating that business philosophy to the company's employees. When business owners group practices, aims, principles, and beliefs together, this group creates philosophy. The philosophy may pertain to profitability, customers, employees, services, and products. So, naka-base yung philosophy ng business dun sa statements and the vision statement and the vision statements. But, it depends kung ano yung pipiliin ng business natin. Yung profitability ba, customers, employees, services, or the products. So, what do you think? If you're going to make a business, ano yung uunahin natin? Ano yung ipaprioritize natin dun sa 5 to? Or sa 4? Kasi services and products almost the same. So, what do you think should be prioritized first? Profitability, customers, employees, or service and products? Kung kayo.
Employees po.
Yung products, sir.
Okay, unahin natin si, sino sumagot na yun? Sino sumagot?
Ay, sir. Ako po.
Okay, Joy. Anong sagot mo?
Yung product, sir. Kasi
Okay.
po, sige, yun lang po.
Bila.
Ay, kasi po, sir, pag maganda yung products, for sure, pangalawang iisipin mo yung customer na. Then, yung profitability. Saka, sorry. Teka lang. Basta po, ang unahin ko muna po ay yung products.
Okay, products. Thank you. Next. Any other answer?
Customer, sir.
Okay, Jade, customer?
Opo, sir.
Okay, bakit?
Sa akin, sir, pag na-determine mo na kasi yung yung pangangailangan ng customer, yung product, services, employees, and profitability will follow na lang eh. Kasi kung ma-determine mo yung gusto ng customer, ma-offer mo yung product na kailangan nila, yung solutions. Then, to build the product, syempre, kailangan mo ng tao. Then, yung result nun is yung profit mismo, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Any other answer? Walang pipili sa profitability? Or dun sa employees?
Pwede din po sa profitability, sir. Kasi, sir, sorry, sir. Once na nag-isip ng isang business, kailangan alam na agad kung paano ibabudget yung capital na gagamitin mismo sa isang business. And alam na agad kung ano yung magiging kita. At sir, yun lang.
Okay. Other answers? Okay. Employees, may naiiwan pang isa. Sino gusto mag-defend?
Sir,
Wala.
employees po.
Sino yon? Okay, Regine, sige.
Ano po? Yung employees yung mag-help sa atin na maano natin yung vision natin, ma-achieve. Ganun po.
Okay. Sige. Okay. Kung ako, actually tama naman lahat ng sagot nyo. Kung ako yung papipiliin, I will choose employees. Sa business kasi, in terms of marketing side, either service man siya or products, we have always to prioritize the employees. Why? Who will make the service and the product? The employees. Those service and product will give us the customers na kailangan natin. Which in, pag dami ng customers, it will improve the profitability of the business. So, balik na rin lang natin. Bakit tayo nagka-profit? Because of our customers. Bakit tayo may customers? Because of the good products and the good services na pinoprovide natin. And then why meron tayong good service and good products? Because we have the best employees, we have the good employees. So kung sa akin lang, on my part, employees yung pipiliin ko. So especially kung service siya, kasi dun sila yung magdedetermine nung quality ng binibigay natin. Okay? But all your answers are correct. Wala namang mali. Okay. So the importance of business philosophy. Webster Dictionary defines philosophy as a system of motivating a fundamental principle that serves as the basis of beliefs or actions. So ito yung pinagbabasihan natin ng mga actions natin or belief. So those involved in the management of the company may wonder how this definition relates to success in the business world. Company managers and owners may be surprised to learn that a solid philosophy is a cornerstone to succeed a business. As you start to understand and develop the philosophy of your business, it becomes easier to build a productive and cohesive organization that can handle any challenges that may arise. Okay, for example, Epson. Alam nyo ba ang vision ng Epson? Sino nakakalam sa'yo ng vision ng Epson? Narinig nyo na ba? Yung tagline ng Epson. Hindi nyo pa naririnig. Okay. So, the tagline of Epson Precision, Epson is exceed your vision. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan ma-exceed namin ano ba yung hinahanap sa amin. So, for our vision statement, as Epson employees, teka lang, titinaw ko solo ko As Epson employees, we always strive to exceed our own vision. Wala, nakalimutan ko, lagot ako sa boss ko. So, always strive to exceed our own vision. Wala, search na natin. Sorry. So, parang sinasabi lang sa vision namin na kailangan ma-exceed namin yung own vision namin as Epson employees in order to give to deliver unique values, unique products dun sa customers namin. So, on that note, mas pinaprioritize na i-develop ng firm namin yung employee skills kasi sila yung magdi-deliver nung products, ng service na hinahanap ng customers. Kaya, napakaraming activities na binibigay nila in terms of manpower development, human resource development. So, ganun yung nagiging basihan natin kung paano magtatrabaho, ano yung magiging action ng isang company. So, dun sa philosophy, the vision, and the mission. So, the composing of business philosophy, syempre andyan yung guiding principles, values, beliefs nung management, nung may-ari. Madalas kasi yun ang pinagbabasihan. And then, for the key questions, ano ba yung overall vision ng company? Ano ba yung nature ng business? And who are my customers? So, yan yung madalas na pinagbabasihan natin in order to form the company's philosophy. Okay, communicating the business philosophy after you complete the process of composing your philosophy. The next step is to clearly communicate that message to employees. So sinabi dito, kay employees natin muna uunahin kasi nga sila yung magbibigay, sila yung mag-a-act in order to achieve yung philosophy na yon. So you can achieve that goal through several methods. Start by introducing the philosophy as part of the orientation process of new hires. Your business might also display the mission statement on the posters of products in the office, as well as your company logos in the website. Sa amin, on a yearly basis, every start of calendar year, dinidiscuss lagi siya during the kick-off meeting ng lahat ng empleyado. Pinapakita doon ano yung philosophy natin, ano yung target natin within this year. And then, the next one is the business philosophy is to live and die by. Once of the first philosophy is to apply into our own business mission statement, do not make excuses, make improvements. When running a business, things rarely go according to plan. You might fail to launch a product on time or fail to meet your revenue projections. Hindi lahat ng business na-achieve yung kanilang target. Sometimes, hindi. Nagkakaroon tayo ng mga problems, but sabi nga, do not make excuses, make improvements. Hindi tayo magsisettle lang, hindi tayo titigil na, sige, yan na natin. Okay lang yan. May nabili pa naman ng product natin. Pero hindi. So we have always to continue to provide continuous improvement. Or yung tinatawag natin very popular, the Kaizen. So almost, if you're going to work in a Japanese company, if nakapag-OJT na kayo sa Japanese company, yun yung halos nagiging principles. Yun yung nagiging pinapractice sa isang Japanese company, which is the continuous improvement. We don't settle for this level. We have to step up to the next level. Okay. Another action na ginagawa natin in order para ma-provide ma-sustain natin or ma-achieve natin yung ating philosophy is the corporate social responsibility. So when we say the CSR or corporate social responsibility, it's a concept which has become dominant in business reporting. Every corporation has a policy concerning CSR and produces a report annually detailing its activity. So hindi ko mabasahin. Pag sinabi natin corporate social responsibility, these are the activities na pinoprovide ng business ng isang company dun sa kanyang society, sa kanyang mga partners like the community, the environment, the government na nasasakupan ng business. So, nagpo-provide sila ng mga corporate social mga activities. For example, in our most of the business nagkakandak ng coastal cleanup activities, which is part of the World Water Day. Ginaganap siya lagi during World Water Day, na kung saan yung mga business, mga companies, nagkakandak sila ng coastal cleanup. So that is one of the corporate social responsibility. Another example is the Brigada Eskwela, wherein nagbibigay yung isang business ng mga gamit, ng support during the Brigada Eskwela. We have also the takbo para sa kalikasan, yung mga ganung activity, scholarships. So yun. But sometimes, ang nagiging problem kasi, the corporate social responsibility, ginagamit nila to in order to nagiging ethical issues kasi dito sa CSR. Nandito ata siya sa dulo. Okay, wala. So, nagiging ethical issues natin pagdating kay CSR ay ginagamit siya in order to avoid hindi naman to tax avoidance. Isang term. Parang ganun. Parang kasing nangyayari, pinapalabas nila kay CSR na ganito yun ang naging, di ba? Yung tax natin, yung income, yung tax ng corporate tax, nakabase siya dun sa profit ng business. Anong nangyayari, nagkakaroon ng dalawang book, accounting book, yung isang business. Yung isa, mas malaki yung ginagastos nila sa CSR. Na kung saan, since malaki yung nagastos sa CSR, nababawasan yung profit. By that mean, mababawasan yung babayaran nilang tax kay internal revenue. So, nagiging dahilan siya para gumawa tayo ng mali in terms dun sa business operation natin. Okay? So, corporations are part of society. A growing number of writers, however, have recognized that the activities of an organization impact upon external environment and have suggested that one of the roles of accounting report on the impact of an organization in this respect. Such suggestion first arose in the 1970s in a concern with a wider view of companies' performance taken by some writers, whoever concerned with the social performance of business as a member of society at large. Indeed, the desirability of considering the social performance of a business has not always, however, been accepted and has been subject of extensive debate. So there's no reason to think that stakeholders are willing to tolerate an amount of corporate non-profit activity which appreciably reduces their dividends on the market performance of the stocks. Kasi, ang corporate social responsibility kasi is nagiging part din siya ng marketing strategy ng isang business. So, for example, if nakita ni customer na, yung product nito, maraming natutulungan. Kumbaga, pag bumili ako nito, portion ng binayad ko is mapupunta sa charity. So, nagiging part din siya ng marketing strategy natin. So, the effect of organizational activity it is apparent, of course, that any action of an organization undertakes will have an effect not just upon itself, but also upon its external environment. So the effect on the organization can be utilization of natural resources as part of its production process. And then effect of competition between itself and other organizations in the same market. The enrichment of local community through the creation of employment opportunities. So, nagiging part din siya ng corporate social responsibility. Transformation of landscape due to raw material extraction or waste products storage, and the distribution of wealth created within the firm of the owners of that firm and the workers of that firm, and the effect of this upon the welfare of individuals. Sabi, ang naging effect daw niya, nagkakaroon ng distribution of wealth. For example, may isang business na tinayo sa Santo Tomas. So, one of the distribution of wealth na pwedeng mangyari is, syempre, mag-hire ka ng mga empleyado. So, ibig sabihin, yung profit ng business na-distribute mo dun sa empleyado. And then, those employees, meron silang family, or, wag nilang family. Dun sa business na yon, sa labas ng business, merong night market na kung saan, since nagkaroon ng bagong business, dumami yung employees. Paglabas ng employees, kumakain sila sa labas. Ibig sabihin, part nung kinikita ng employees na pupunta doon sa business na nasa labas. Wherein, syempre, nadidistribute din na maayos yung welfare. Kumbaga, the business itself, nakakapag-create na agad siya ng effect sa society. Hindi natin siya masyado maramdaman, but the businesses na, yung mga simpleng mag-fishbowl sa labas ng isang business, kapag nagdagdag ng tao yung isang business, malaki na yung epekto sa kanya. So, hindi natin siya nakikita, pero mas nararamdaman siya nung mas maliliit na businesses. So the principles of CSR, first is sustainability, accountability, and transparency. So yung CSR natin, hindi lang siya basta magawa mo ngayon, the next week, the next year, wala na. Hindi tayo nag-provide. So ang prinsipyo natin pagdating sa CSR, we have to sustain. So lahat ng CSR activities na isang business, kung every year ginagawa, dapat every year nakakandak natin kahit anumang mangyari. Accountability, if ever na magkaroon ng problem during the operation ng CSR, we have to be accounted as well. And the transparency, this one, hindi kasi natin, kailangan talaga transparent yung CSR natin, yung corporate responsibility, kasi para hindi, walang masabi, hindi naman sa walang masabi, mapakita natin sa tao na may ginagawa tayo as a business. Na hindi lang tayo basta kumita ng pera. Okay? So yun na rin yun. Accountability and the transparency. So that is the last part of our corporate social responsibility. Now, I just want to ask you guys, do you know a business? Can you give me an example of a business, and then ano yung alam yung corporate social responsibility na ginagawa nila? Can you give an example? Guys, can you give an example? May alam ba kayo? For example, ABS-CBN. Si ABS-CBN, one of the corporate social responsibility na ginagawa nila is nagtayo sila ng sinusuportahan nila yung mga charities. For example, the Bantay Bata Foundation, all the environmental action. So, yun yung mga binibigay nilang corporate social responsibility sa society. Another one is actually
Yung Lingkod Ka Pamilya po.
Ayan, like Lingkod Ka Pamilya. So nagpo-provide sila ng mga groceries dun sa mga naapektuhan ng mga bagyo, lindol. So yun. Actually napakadami, napaka-transparent ng mga business pagdating doon sa kanilang corporate social responsibility kasi parang nire-require din siya. Actually, required talaga sa isang business na magkaroon ng corporate social responsibility. Nasa batas natin yun. Okay? So, that's all for today's discussion. I hope may napulot tayo. Pabasa na lang ng other part na hindi natin nadaanan. Diniscuss ko lang yung major part. For the next week, topic natin, hindi pala, next discussion, hindi pa sure kung next week to, will be the engineering code of ethics. So this engineering code of ethics, possible, titingnan ko kung pwedeng ipasa ko na lang sa inyo kasi hindi naman siya halos dinidiscuss, pero parang babasahin lang natin. Pero sige, I'll try na mas mapaliwanag siya ng ayos. Okay? So, yun. So for the next week, meron tayong exam. We will have our first quiz. Same with our industrial information system. Pasensya na, pagsasabayin ko na. Kasi wala ako next week. Sisend ko lang sa inyo yung link nung Google form. So yung ating exam next week will be total of wait lang. Bagal na ng internet. Okay. So this exam is 1 to 40 points lang, pero siya naman ay for the identification, 15 items for the identification. And then we have multiple choice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. 7 multiple choice lang. So medyo maikli lang to, pero medyo mabigat lang yung multiple choice kasi you have to analyze the situation. So for example, I will give you an example. Okay. So ito yung question. Chat ko na lang. For example lang natin, this is the question. Which of the following statements are true about engineering ethics? Answer can be more than one. Selecting wrong answer will be deducted. Simple lang naman, di ba? Ito yung pagpipilian. 1. Ethical engineering ethics is an area of practical or applied ethics. Number 2. The aim of engineering ethics is to illuminate the ethical dimension of engineering ethics. Or number 3, engineering ethics is constituted of an electric contribution of all schools of ethics. So, yan yung isang example. Sa tingin, yan yung kasama sa exam. Okay, kasama na yan sa exam. Binigay ko na sa inyo yan. So, which of the following statements are true about engineering ethics? Pwedeng isa, pwedeng dalawa, pwedeng tatlo. Engineering ethics is an area of practical or applied ethics. The aim of engineering ethics is to illuminate the ethical dimension of engineering practice, or engineering ethics is constituted of an electric contribution of an school of ethics. What do you guys, what do you think is the answer? Ano sagot? Ano sagot?
All of the above po.
All of the above. Sabi ko sa inyo, if you select wrong answers, it will be deducted to your total scores. So we have to be very careful. Ano? Sa tingin nyo, ano sagot? All of the above? 1, 2. Kayo nang bahala. Hindi ko na sasabihin. Ha? Okay? So, ganyan. Okay, ganyan lang yung mga example. Another question. Ayun na, nire-review ko na kayo. Question. It is the study of moral issues and decisions confronting the individuals and organizations involved in engineering. It is the study of moral issues and decisions confronting individuals and organizations involved in engineering. The answer is?
Ethics. Charot.
Ethics? Di ko alam. Kayo nang bahala. Anyway, lahat ng questions ko ay nandun lang sa module na binigay ko sa inyo. Meron siyang time limit. You have to answer that for 45 minutes. Once you open the link, bawal na siyang i-close. Tapos, once na hindi siya matapos in within 45 minutes at hindi nyo na-submit, ay hindi rin siya mag-reflect sa akin, hindi siya masasubmit sa akin. If there will be problem during the exam, dun sa link, sabihin nyo agad sa akin para mabigay ko yung, mabigyan natin ng action, okay? Is there any question? Any question? Wala na? Kung wala na, alam nyo na, dating gawi. For my weekly report, tutulog na tayo. Di ba kayo nagsawa sa akin maghapon?
Po. Hindi po.
Hindi kayo nagsawa. Maghapon tayo magkakaharap pa. Anyway, yain na. Malay natin next sem, iba ng subject, no? Iba-ibang araw na. Oh, si Ronald, kakabalik lang daw. Sige, Ronald, sama ka na lang sa picture. Okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. Bago lang ng internet. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that would be all for today. I hope you guys enjoy our discussion for 3 subjects and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Po.
Yung FS nyo, kaya nyo yun.
Yung oras po yung quiz.
Yung quiz natin, okay, sige. For our quiz, first quiz natin kasi ay Industrial Information System. Siguro ibigay ko sa inyo ng 1:00 hanggang 1:45. Pa-take note na lang ako. 1 to 1:45. Tapos, yung next nating discussion, next exam natin for the ethics will be, medyo tagalan, layuan natin ng konti para makapag-review pa kayo. From 5 p.m. to 5:45. 1 to 1:45 and 5 to 5:45. Okay? Any questions? Guys, kung gusto niyo ng support sa FS, pwede niyo akong lapitan ha. I'm available naman, oo.
Thank you, sir.
Ang tip ko lang sa
Salamat
FS,
po.
kung maganda, kung gusto, titinan ko kung meron akong copy ng FS ko, tapos bigay ko sa inyo yung yung kopya ko para maging reference nyo. Kung meron pa akong soft copy, hanapin ko. Send ko sa inyo para makatulong na rin ako, no? Kasi currently, I'm handling also advisory sa feasibility study. Meron akong hawak na 3 grupo. 2 pa lang na taga-TI. So, yun. Medyo kailangan ng pera kaya ganyan. Joke lang. But, pag nakita ko nakita ko yung soft copy ko ng FS ko, bigay ko sa inyo para maging reference nyo. Maganda yung FS namin. Joke lang.
Thank you, sir.
Oo. Bibigay ko sa inyo yung best paper nung time namin. Okay?
Sana all.
Sana all.
Thank you, sir.
Ang tip lang dyan, para maging best research paper, kailangan lagi, active kayo magtanong kay Sir Ilagan. Lagi kayo magko-consult. Kasi yung other groups kasi, minsan last part na nagko-consult, kaya ang daming revision. So kung maya't maya kayo nagko-consult sa kanya, nababago nyo agad yung first part pa lang, introduction pa lang, nabago na. Marketing side, production, operation, financial. So yun, kaya nyo yun. Okay? So, that's all. Any question? Papahinga na tayong lahat. Ay, for the exam pala, yung sa ethics na exam, meron pang hindi nakakapagpasa sa akin. Sabi na lang kung nandito. Alam ko meron pang hindi nakakapagpasa. But for the exam, binigay kong exam, sabi ko, I gave 98% dun sa highest score. So, 2 yung nabigyan ko ng 98%. Congratulations. Kung sino man yung 2 yan. Okay? So, any questions? Kung wala na, that would be all. See you again for our next schedule. See you next week for the exam. Mag-aaral kayo, okay? Okay, guys? Bye-bye.
Thank you po.
Thank you,
Bye,
sir.
sir. Thank you po.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye
guys.
po.
Bye po.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy. Pahinga kayo.
Bye po.
Makakatulog na ako.
Nagbababay ako kay Ayon eh.
Wala na. Wait lang.
Kapagod.